Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition, the locker room cleanout edition of the Lone Wolves podcast. It was a unique afternoon. We got a chance to talk to Dan Campbell one final time before the combine. He was forthright. He answered my question. I was a little concerned if he was going to answer it. A lot of people got their questions in. It seems like Gritty Gringo liked the first question that was asked. What was it? I think it was in relation to the team and expectations and all that kind of stuff. But welcome in. It's a Monday, probably just going to go an hour. Monday Night Raw is on and is potentially a big WWE return. So I'm a fan. I want to see it. But I want to give a shout out to the early people in here, the early 150 people across X and YouTube. Brent DeWitt, Gritty Gringo, The Keys to Wisdom, Victor Cross. Welcome, welcome. Smash the like button. That's the free way to help us continue to grow, keep the lights on, and to bring you the content that you like about the Detroit Lions. Today, we're going to try to hit 4 topics, 15 minutes each probably, and give you a little bit about what happened today. It's always has the feel of like a year ending, coming to a close. Everybody's kind of wrapping up their professional obligation. It's a team that you followed since the end of June. For me, it's different. It's a whole year process. It feels like, for me, going through the whole process, it's unique because it doesn't really stop. Now we're turning our attention to the draft. I'll go out to the combine. I might go out to the owners' meeting in Arizona. I've never been. So it's interesting because you talk to the players and you get a sense of, are they going to be back? Could some guys be gone? It's real interesting. It has the feel of, talking to Alex Anzalone, DJ Reader, Amik Robertson, Al-Quadin Muhammad. Some of these guys are not going to be back. And there's still thoughts about the future, what happened this year. If you have any questions, what happens in a clean out? It's just guys talking, kind of wrapping up what happened, kind of their situation. It's unique to kind of go through that. It's my 6th or 7th one. I feel like I missed one because of a late season game, but my goodness, it's unique. It's very unique. In this episode, we'll talk about the locker room clean out, some of my general takeaways. We got a chance to talk to Sam LaPorta. I think seeing him in person should ease some tension. The video is up on Lions on SI. You can see what he told reporters. We'll talk about that. Black Monday, several coaches fired, and I believe there's a handful in there the Lions should at least take a look at. I want to get your sense of it. Dan Campbell answered my question beforehand. He graded himself an F. So we're going to talk all about it. Roll call. Where's everybody listening in from? Get your questions in, super chats, super likes, super stickers. Go right to the front of the line. Brent DeWitt, meaningless victory, my arse, springboard to next season. Sweeping the Bears 2 years in a row feels good to me. I get it. But the thing that people are saying is, where was that against the Vikings and the Steelers when you needed it most? That game had a weird vibe. It had a weird vibe based on how the Bears played. But the team was happy. Look, it's better to be 9-8. I get it. And you hope that Brad Holmes, and listen, all I can hope is that the 16th pick doesn't impact the Lions at 17. Please don't let the 16th pick become a Hall of Famer, please. Because all the Ravens kicker had to do was kick the ball straight, and the Lions would have been at 16, and he whiffed it. That whole game was wild, especially at the end. And you had Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth glazing the Ravens kicker. Oh, the organization felt like he was primed to be in this moment. Oh, he missed it. These kickers, man. As they say in the UFC, never let the game come down to the officials. Never let a game come down to a kicker. You need to win that game. And with 18 seconds left, the Ravens should have called a play and moved it even closer. Hopefully, if it's 42 yards, every yard for a kicker is prime real estate. But what happens you go in and we talk to Dan, and then right away you go into the locker room, and it's, a lot of the players weren't there, but a handful of the leaders were, which was really good. You got a chance. We'll recap it. The first one we recapped was Sam LaPorta. We spoke in a large group setting to Panay Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Isaac Tesla, Amik Robertson. A lot of people spoke about the season. Alex Anzalone, Amik Robertson, DJ Reader. They spoke about their situation. I got a chance to talk one-on-one with a couple guys, most notably Mekhi Wingo, about his last game, how tough it was for him. It's kind of the first time he's ever had to sit behind somebody. So visit Lions on SI over Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to sprinkle a little of the content every day until we now know Thursday, Brad Holmes will take the podium and he will be questioned regarding the 2025 season. I thought that Dan Campbell has been forthright. I thought that he's been honest. And a lot of the time in the cleanout, you kind of just get a sense of a player's situation, why, any insights. Amik has talked to Brad Holmes, and he said the door is not closed for a return. I think personally the door is closed for a couple guys, Alex Anzalone, DJ Reader, and Al-Quadin Muhammad. I think Al-Quadin's going to cash in. He told reporters, no hometown discount. He used the great word. He's like, I'm going to go where I find the most value. We all know what that means, right? Al-Quadin got 11 sacks. Show me the money. And if the Lions show him the most, he'll be here. But at 30, 31 years old, I think another team is going to shell out the $8 to $10 million, and that'll be it. Good question. C. Jade, welcome to the Monday show. Thank you for listening in. It means a lot. Hopefully you smash the like button for your friendly favorite podcaster, Dan Campbell's favorite NFL reporter of all times. He'll look back and say, who was your favorite reporter? It was that guy. He just kept that little guy in the front. John, Doc, that little guy. Is Anzalone done? He is done with the Lions. I think he's going to end up with the Jets. I think he's going to find a home pretty quickly. He'll build culture. He'll get a nice contract. And no doubt about it, Aaron Glenn would pay for the services of Alex Anzalone. But we'll see. I'm not closing it out, but I would say based on percentage, just based on the fact that you can go a little bit younger, I would say 10% he comes back. I think he knows it, and everybody kind of knows it. He went through the whole year without a contract, and it's done. I think Alex Anzalone will not play in a Lions uniform. X the Trim Reaper. What up, Doc? Yeet. It's a good Monday. It's kind of the wrap up. For me, it's always unique because around the time of the last couple of weeks, you do kind of hit a little bit of a wall, but you power through, you keep writing, you keep producing content. And when the Lions were eliminated, it slowed things down a little bit. It forced us to move to the draft, and it's now coming to a close. And the next step will be next week is kind of like the general recap, what happened, grading the season, early thoughts on the draft, stuff like that. And then we'll go full bore into how the Lions are going to fix free agency interest, who should come back. It never really ends, but what happens is after Thursday, I'll definitely slow down just a little bit in terms of what I'm going to produce, but definitely maybe 2 podcasts a week instead of like 4 or 5. We'll see. I've been enjoying doing these podcasts. Really, I think I could do it every day, but it's really when there's relevant information and things I want to say. I want to thank my colleagues. They thanked me. They were like, man, you went hard on the podcast yesterday. I was like, yeah, I have a lot of things to say. When a season goes down, you turn on the microphone, you have things to say. Who would ask Dan Campbell, how do you feel about yourself? That was my question. I'm still formulating my thoughts on the list of questions that I'm interested in for Brad Holmes, but he's going to be asked, why did this thing regress? Are you going to change your philosophy? What level of acknowledgement are you going to have that you butchered the offensive line? Steve Wiles, Dan gave himself a freaking F. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Do you agree? You were impressed with the questions. Yeah, there were good questions today. Good media session from Dan. And I think that it kind of felt like a more of a traditional Dan Campbell session. He's honest. He's just delivering the answers and keeping it moving. I think he kind of shed the coach speak once the season ended. Just like that. Just like that. It's going to be definitely an interesting offseason. What's your biggest concern in the offseason? What do you want to see happen? And guys, it was brought up on the radio. It was really interesting. The Lions kind of played a weaker schedule this year and still went 8-9. You played the Commanders, Bengals, Giants, Vikings, and you went 8-9. So you can't assume that if you play a fourth place schedule that you. My thesis is no magic wands. You got to be drastic. You got to bring in some talent. You got to change the coaches. No magic wands. You don't just get to tell everybody, oh, the Lions were third in DVOA and now we're just going to win. It doesn't work like that. Reversion to the mean. If Doc was a cornerback, he is definitely in press coverage. F the zone. Listen, they brought out the zone yesterday. Did you guys like it? I thought it was interesting. They finally busted out the zone coverage. They busted out the zone coverage against the Bears. But I don't know. Something tells me. Did you guys get a sense that the Bears were trying? Like they woke up in the fourth quarter, but there's been this narrative that the Bears kind of hid things, and Ben Johnson was kind of insulting, saying that was the easiest game plan because he knows everything. Probably that's what he meant. But it just that was a weird game. The Bears slept through the first three quarters. The Lions are dancing, doing their thing. Biggins knows what's up. Shout out to you. Two competent, experienced coordinators, as well as reassuring the offensive line, which will improve the run and pass game. Yeah, you got to re-up it, revamp it. Better way to say it. Number one thing people want to see, and shout out to you, Biggins. Happy New Year. Always enjoy firing up the old X machine and seeing your comments, whatever they may be, every single day for these many years. Shout out to you. Happy New Year. X the Trim Reaper. I hope Brad Holmes is aggressive this offseason. Absolutely. Revamp the offensive line. Absolutely. So it is weird because there's just me there, and most outlets have too. I wish I had only a handful of times I go, man, I wish I had the second reporter, that I'd done enough to earn the second reporter. A guy like Emmett could go around, because that way we would have doubled. I talked to 8 players. I could have got to 14, 15 of them. But, you do what you got to do. It's just little old me running around there. And I do kind of enjoy the scooting around process. It's the best way to describe it is like the last day of school, truly, but it's forever. The vibe is conclusive. It has the feel of uncertainty for some guys, hope for others, like an Isaac Tesla, a Mekhi Wingo, and a little bit of resigning to the fact that this could be it. Like you're starting to realize, oh wow, for Alex Anzalone, DJ Reader, Amik Robertson, this could be the last time I'm in this room. That it's like one big fraternity, and you never know when it's going to end. And it goes on. Like for me too, it has that feel. It goes on. Like I start in this year with the Hall of Fame game, it flies by. You start preparing, and I did the podcast like June 24th. Going into July. Starting into training camp, and then when you hit July, you start preparing for the Hall of Fame game. So I look back, I'm like, oh wow, I was doing this live video podcast a little bit in June, and then we picked up in the middle of July. And then once July hit, you're just going all of the end of July, all of August, and then you just go until now. And for me, I recall going to the draft in March. So it's just been one big cycle. And for this year, for me, I'm thankful that you guys have given me the opportunity to keep writing and producing content. I know you see the fresh videos that rotate, whether it be me or the videos I bring from Allen Park. And so it ends. And roughly a roster turns over 30% every year. Steve says, I think the Bears play better in different circumstances. The playoffs are going to be interesting. Do you think the Bears are going to be one and done? It's crazy that they're underdogs to the Packers. Reversion to the mean. I can't recall a worst clock management series just under 3 minutes to go. Lions tried to F that game up. That's why Dan Campbell, that's why I think Dan Campbell, why Dan gave himself an F. Part of it was, I don't know what happened with who he's working with to give him some of those decisions. I don't know if the game is just so fast. A lot of those decisions with clock management have to be tightened up. You, under 3 minutes to go, your whole fan base is like, why are you passing it? Pass, pass, pass. And 3rd and 1 to throw it to your quarterback is weird. Reversion to the mean, you're spot on. Zach wants to know, is John Morton fired yet? Dan Campbell's not going to rush into that. I would think by Friday, you'll probably hear something. He's going to take his time. The season is just ending. You're wrapping things up. You're doing all the player stuff. I think we all know what's going to happen. The question mark is going to be Kelvin Shepard, and we're going to talk about that soon. It's Jay Stees. What's up, Doc? I'm always late. Luckily, good. I'm going to be done by 8:30. You can watch the Spartans and USC. Knicks game is going on, I think, now or at 7:30. So we'll keep it to an hour. Nice and tight. How we all like it. Dan Campbell. So my question was, okay, really interesting in that, I felt like his mood was good today. Like he kind of let down the guard of coach speak and he was just answering questions he answered a question about play calling, which was funny because he heard it and he's like, you know what, if it's the best thing for the team, I'll consider it. He did throw a dig in there. He's like, well, if I do it, I don't have to worry that the play caller is going to leave. Pause. You know what that means? If he hires a Dayball, he has one good year, Dayball could get hired somewhere else. That's a vote for potentially Dan Campbell calling plays next year. But I said, okay, I got a couple questions I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about the offensive line, but if you guys heard, I tried to get a couple questions off and 2 people spoke over me, which I always back down. I always realize, okay, let them ask because my question is typically going to get called upon from the fine PR gentleman. He'll just announce me. I think 99% of my questions, I didn't fire it off. The PR guy had to introduce me. Okay, John, you can hit the floor now. And I'm always last, which I get. And I always back down. Like I'll start to talk and then if somebody else, I'll stop. See, I'm nice that way. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask about the offensive line. Somebody asked, I had something else to ask. And I said, Dan, I know you're going to do a self-scout, but I'm just wondering if I ask you, how'd you think you did this year? Basic, how are you? What did you think? He's like, great answer. He's like, I didn't get this team in the playoffs. I didn't get the job done. I give myself a freaking F. Dan, my man, you couldn't use the F word? That would have been legendary. I give myself an effing F. That would have been great. But listen, it was an honest answer. He was direct. And that's the one thing you can respect about your head coach. He is not going to shy away from accountability. I did a terrible job, is what he said. What did you think about Dan Campbell's job? Would you give him an F? I didn't think he was. I literally thought, okay, he's going to say, we're not at that point. I should do a self-scout. I thought he was going to, I just wanted to know, how you doing? How'd you think you did? Basic question. And he answered it. And I'm thankful for that. We end on a good note as I continue to be his favorite NFL reporter and podcaster of all time. What grade do you think Dan Campbell did? Clock management has to improve. The decision between kicking a field goal and going for it has to improve. You got to be reading the room, read the team. If your offensive line is struggling, don't go for it. Kick the field goal and see what happens. How do you think Dan Campbell did, in your opinion, this year? X the Trim Reaper. I appreciate your takes and honesty. That's what you'll get. I think that's what, the more I do it, I think the more people realize this is who I am. This is how I speak. And my colleague said, man, I listened to your podcast and you're just going in. I said, yeah, that's why I do this. I'm not going to be boring. I'm not going to drone on and answer a question for 25 minutes. I have, boom, quick takes, get to all the people, talk to the people. Shout out to you, X the Trim. And really, in the end, you guys realize the star of the show is you guys. A D plus from the silent service. Get your likes in, super chats in, super stickers. Appreciate you, man. Nick P, 2830, the best Lions professional podcaster out there. Doc, how are you? I am good. The season's winding down. I'm reflecting on the season. I'm very grateful. I felt like it was a good year for me, the site, the podcast. And it felt like at first I came in hot after one Packers game, but I had, like I said, I've always been a guy, and my honest opinion to share with people is you trust your gut. After that Packers game, I was highly concerned about the way that offense looked. And I always trust my gut. And so, but then they went on to win 4 games. They changed their pattern. And then the season went on where the offensive line struggled and the teams figured them out after the Chiefs game. Brandon Peters, thanks for that information. Just heard Doc is live, had to pull out. Hurried up and put my clothes on. That might be my favorite comment of all time. I don't know if anyone's going to top that. I don't know. I'm sorry to the missus. Hopefully she's got ulterior methods of enjoying herself. Sorry, missus. The Doc comes first. I don't know. If I didn't work for a corporate company, I almost would post that on X. I don't know what the hell. I'll be like, screw it. Let's start the year off. Oh, honey, hold on. Brandon Peters, Happy New Year. Sorry, missus. Brandon, off the rails. This is, first of all, is there any podcaster in town that would actually pull up that comment and read it with the passion that I did? No. Listen, let's be real, Brandon. You only needed like another 30 seconds? From what I hear. Take your time. And hop on later. Shout out to Brandon. Chin. Doc needs to join the heavyweights with guest appearances from Broder. Yeah, tell them to invite me more. The twice a year invites ain't working. What grade are you giving Dan Campbell? Do you think he's the F? Do you think he's an F? He had an F year? I'm salty. He was already done. Don't let him fool you. Yeah, Brandon, stop fronting. Smash the emojis like I'm salty. It means a lot to me. Credit to the fellas at Crunch Time. Dan Campbell is F for fired. No, he'll be back for year 6. Keys to wisdom. Biggins, Dan Campbell is right to give himself an F because he failed to meet his own self-expectations. Passing grades on a failed season are a participation trophy and same old Lions mindset. Yeah, you have to get to the playoffs. You have to get to the playoffs. Full Slate Farms. When do we get the ghost, Brad Holmes? Who? Where? Thursday. Thursday, you will hear from your general manager. Nobody caught the code? Nobody caught the code on X? I shared it this morning. I'd use a little subtle hint. I said, it's everybody's favorite day of the week that you all are looking forward to. A new Doc and Jock podcast Thursday. You got to follow at Detroit Podcast. We drop a little nuggets, little clues to kind of what goes on, and you kind of can read between the lines. Chin says, was that based on Sharon's advice? No, listen. Brandon had to make sure that the missus didn't find out about his activities. Yella, drop the cash and tell her to leave. Wife's coming home at 8:15. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Absolutely. Nick P, what do you want me to ask? We have a phrase like, hey, the fans are panicking. They don't feel like you're going to be aggressive and take advantage of this window. What are you going to do to reinstill faith that you're going to put together a roster that can win a Super Bowl? In so many words. An hour and 8 minutes into yesterday's show, I have the exact phrasing of a good question. 1 hour and 8 minutes from yesterday's show. Dan Campbell gives himself an F, a freaking F. Where did he go wrong? First and foremost, you can't go with inexperienced coordinators. You didn't prepare your team for the Packers in a way that was acceptable. You can't. You have all offseason. You get your schedule in May. April, May. So June, July, August, September. 4 months to prepare for one team. And it's in your division. And you laid an egg. You had the coordinators, and the team wasn't ready. And training camp, actually this year, the last couple of years, training camp has provided a nice view of the team. This last training camp, we told you on the Lone Wolves podcast, which I did daily from the start of camp to the end of camp, that the offense wasn't looking good. Most of us believed that it was really a representative sign of the defense. But at the same token, the offense did not look right. It took time to gel. They didn't make as many plays as the defense, and they were consistently not connecting in joint practices. Obviously, they curb stomped the Dolphins, but the Dolphins were not a realistic playoff team. So we told you a fair analysis. And then once the Packers game hit, everyone's like, whoa, wait a minute. Something's wrong with the team at this moment. Nick P's like, Doc, tell him to quit sitting on his effing hands at the Dollar General and sign top tier talent. Nick P, I feel you, dog. I feel you. I know what you're saying. Top tier lineman. Make a bold move. Those words exactly. Brad, I do a daily podcast. It's featured all over. Nick P from my show says, quit sitting on your hands at the dollar store and sign Nick Linderbaum or Tyler Linderbaum. We don't care how much it costs. Are you going to sign Linderbaum? Make a bold move. You know what I should do? I should talk about myself. You know, Brad, it was bold for me to get in this room starting a podcast. When the fans want to know when you are going to be making bold moves. Zuzu wants to know why your offensive line stunk this year. I got a lot of love for this particular viewer. Zuzu Ob wants to say, Happy New Year. You're looking great. Congrats on all the success. That means a lot to me, Zuzu. And you know it. And you know it. You know your uncle doesn't just talk the talk. That's a good kid right there. Motor City Mia, Brad waited too late to find Ragnow's replacement. That's his fault. Your favorite uncle is going to ask Brad Holmes something. Listen, he's gonna get asked. By the time they call to me, I gotta get with my how do you feel? he's gonna have an opening statement. It's probably gonna address everything, but he's gonna be talking about. Yeah, if Dan's grade is an F, what is Brad's? Brad's F minus. Yeah, it just wasn't the best year all the way around. And I think in game, once Dan Campbell took the play calling, he was okay at it at first, but consistently, I feel like the run game never got off the ground because of the offensive line and some of the decisions made on certain downs just really put the team back. Too many negative plays on second down and not enough third down efficiency, and then bad decisions on fourth down. Motor City Media knows what's up. Doc, it's Linderbaum season. That's it. Get Linderbaum. You should just walk in and say, everybody, I'm signing Linderbaum. Like, wait a minute, you can't say that yet. I don't care. Tamper. He's like, I'm going to tamper. We're getting Linderbaum. Drastic. This has to be a drastic offseason. Fortune favors the bold. And I'm so thankful that the audience here understood that it was not right to just say, I don't want free agents. We're good. The Slappies were happy. No. This audience was smart. This audience that I love to represent was like, no, we're not good. Until we see a ring that shines and has bling, we're not good. No, you don't need Myles Garrett. You don't need Max Crosby. You don't need Trey Hendrickson. You don't need any of these guys. And then at the end of the year, they turned to being a slappy that the Lions beat a team at the end of the year that's going to the playoffs and then clap about it. Slappies end up with the weirdest behavior, don't you think, online? Better than myself or others that just say, hey, we're not happy that the team is not doing what it takes to win. We're angry. There's two kind of fans. You decide. But if you want to play kids games and make jokes about beating the Bears and being undefeated in 2026, follow that. Here we talk about, are they close to the Super Bowl or are they not? Your favorite uncle? We're going to talk about that. We talked to Sam LaPorta. In the final segment, we'll talk about those fired coaches. Is it Jim Schwartz, the Raheem Morrises, the Gannons of the world? I think you guys can realistically see the video that he shared. I'll probably share it on X. I was there. And you can always know my videos because I'm so short compared to these athletes that you can see the up close view. The players are always going to be framed higher in the video. Then oh, that's a doc video. That's a doc video. Because these guys are a foot taller than me. And I'm like, oh God, oh goodness gracious. And he's asked about the timeline. Good question from a reporter. And he shares his thoughts. He looks good. We saw him in the locker room. We're like, oh, good. This is going to be good to see him. Be healthy by training camp. It'll be a nice chance to catch up here and show you that I shoot the video. And also ask yourself, did you guys like the coverage this year? The videos on X, all the stories, the podcast. What did you like about the podcast? What would you like to see evolve over the next several months and next year? This podcast is free flowing. A lot of it's going to be just topics and then go to you guys. That's what I love to do. But we can do a lot of different shows, a lot of different ways. And I always respect the audience to give you what you want. What do you want more of? And remember, the rule is out of every show, every hour, I get like 2-3 minutes to talk about myself. That's it. Like 2% of the show. This is Sam LaPorta, and he's talking about next year. Let's play it here.
You be healthy by training camp. I'm assuming you're in the same boat there.
Yeah, that's the plan. Like I said, I start another phase of my rehab tomorrow, which is exciting. Hopefully by OTAs, I'm up running around, and then of course we'll be in pads and training camp. So it's a lot different than other sports. Just to be able to brace for those hits and the accumulation of a long NFL season, I've really got to get this back right before I'm out there running around in pads and taking those hits and such.
You be healthy by training camp. I'm assuming.
So what happens is that here's what happened. Here's the story with Sam LaPorta. Here's the story. He accumulated some back pain a couple weeks before the Commanders game, was falling and getting tackled, and he was starting to feel it. Then he has the herniated disc against the Commanders. He's like, oh, maybe I can heal it, stretch out 2 to 3 weeks. I should be okay. He thought he was going to be okay. What a warrior. But he had a herniated disc. He thought, okay, let's see if we can avoid surgery. He couldn't walk. He was doing the grandpa shuffle. You guys know when you throw your back out doing the thing? Like Brandon now throughout his back. You know, the slipper shuffle. He felt like he couldn't move. Listen, even the haters, I would never wish a back pain on any haters. Can't do anything. Can't even pull out. Brandon can't even pull out if he's got a back pain. You can't do anything. So he couldn't even do a no weight leg curl after a couple weeks. He couldn't even stretch without feeling it. And he's like, something's wrong. There's an issue. And the decision was made to have surgery. He was feeling it. And he had the surgery, and by how he was looking, he looked all right. Now, he's going to start the next phase of his rehab tomorrow. You can check out the full words at Lions on SI. You can see the video too, in another minute of it, because we're allowed about a minute and a half of footage per video. Go check it out. Your friendly favorite podcaster gets the videos. On X at Detroit Podcast, I also showcased Tyleek Williams, highlighted Graham Glasgow's joke, and Alex Anzalone kind of calling the last media day kind of weird because it's the end of the road. Chin knows. Herniated discs are horrible. I lost feeling in my lower body. Damn, falling out of planes. P.S. Never trust Air Force pilots. I'll remember that. He explained it. I think if he airs his video, he explained it. If it's videos on YouTube for the Lions, he was asked at the tail end. And I don't have it on my phone. I have it on my recorder. But he described the surgery. Biggins says, clearly he had a disc pushing on his spinal cord and sciatic nerves. He describes the surgery if they aired it on YouTube. But if not, Biggins, I will message when I listen back to it. Actually, hold on. See, let's see here. I'll talk and then look it up too, because I have all the scripts here. Amber, I have a script service here that I keep all the transcripts at. See if I find it. I know the number. I think it was 347 is when I signed in on it. Let's see. Signing in on a new computer, if it lets me. You know, I'm spending half my time, Biggins, on two-factor authentications these days with all the things I sign into. But yeah, what do you guys think about Sam LaPorta? The season went astray when he was gone. When he was gone, that was a wrap. 437. All right, let's see what the script service says. How are you feeling? Good. Yep. Another phase of rehab. All right. What'd you guys think regarding when Sam LaPorta? It really messed up the whole season with him and Brock Wright going out. You know, the big quote is about, the Commanders game. It just didn't feel right. I don't know if I stopped it after he talked about it or he was asked. Check the YouTube. I'm not seeing it here in my transcriber. But he was talking about he thought it was going to be 2 to. So that's the dude. Know your team. Yeah. It's always interesting. I thought he was asked directly, what kind of procedure did you have? And I don't know if it just bypassed it, but he talked about it. But I was just so enthralled by what his comments were about, trying to decide whether not to get it or not. Yeah, they're tough, but I don't think it's career ending. He wants to take it slow, rehab, and be able to. The question mark is going to be what kind of level of ferocious blocking can he do with this back injury? Does it flare up? Back injuries are no joke. And Dan Campbell caused a little bit of panic. People online were like, wait a minute, you're reporting that Dan Campbell said, you never know about backs. You never know. So what it means is that he's going to do all the rehab. He will get out there on the field, but you never know when Terry Arnold pops him in the back. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when he gets his first helmet to the back? How's he going to feel? That's what Dan Campbell's saying. You're never going to know until he's out there suited and booted and out there running around. So that's where this situation lies. I think all I know is that Dan Jackson injured his leg and got put on IR pretty early with Ennis Rakestraw. Injured leg. We barely saw him. Anakin, you wanted accountability? Well, Dan said it himself. He would give himself an F. Yes, that's accountability. Very accountable. Absolutely, Anakin. But now you got to also be accountable and fix the problems. I saw Ennis Rakestraw today. I congratulated him on his degree. He walked in quickly right behind me, but he wasn't in the locker room. Where's Brad's accountability? We'll find out Thursday. Thursday it is. That would be great. Brad walks in. He's like, "How is everyone doing? We're good." You should just slip it in there just a couple times to see if any of y'all are paying attention. "How are y'all doing? We're good." "All right, we're good." Love you guys. I didn't say that with $5. Just remember, we didn't make the playoffs, but we ain't the Titans interviewing Raheem Morris just hours after he was fired for sucking. Whatever you may make of this comment, I suspect Raheem Morris will be interviewing for every opening. And let's just put it at that. Dolo, Doc, what was Sheila looking at in that vid? What are we talking about here? Am I missing something? What vid are we talking about? You got to remember, at this point in the season, I've gone at today, prepared this podcast, all the buttons I got to push, all the story. We had 8 stories up. I was up. Content started at 6 a.m. today. Yes, you noticed it too? Yes. She looked a little stern. I like that. I like that. Anakin Skygore 1037. I saw that. She was in the back, front left of the video, and she had a little stern. She wasn't as celebratory as Dan Campbell was. Dan Campbell was choking up a little bit. Let me speculate. She just got told at that very moment how much money was lost not having 2 to 3 playoff games. Rod Wood whispered to her, "Sheila, this guy right here, this tight end, and this 9-8 schedule, if we would have had 2 more gates, let's do some average math here. Some average, simple podcast math." Rod Wood said, "Darling, 65,000 tickets. Let's break it down. An average of 350. Let me do my 3-digit decimal places. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. Now I'm getting mad. 65,000 times 350 is 22,750,000. So she was told times 2. $45,500,000 G's out the window. 45 million because they choked. 45 50000. 45,500,000 out the window. 50 million out the window. Rod Wood said, darling, 50 million, you ain't getting it. You know what that would produce in me? I don't care about the post-game celebration anymore. 50 million. No 2 playoff gates. Every playoff gate at an average ticket of $350 is $23 million. That's just the ticket prices. Not talking about booze, all the $100 jerseys. So let's round up. This season cost the Lions $100 million. Give or take. Think she's going to be happy? The godmother didn't get paid. She didn't get her taste. Godmother's not happy. You know what that means, guys? $18 beers next year for y'all. AG's burner. If it don't make dollars, don't make sense. So Sheila got the number, in my humble opinion. And she was like, this sucks. 50 million. Plus food. You guys are funny. I ain't say that. Appreciate the $5 super chat. I'll flash it one more time because we're going to talk about it as the lead for my next 10 minutes here. For the final 10 minutes, Raheem Morris was interviewing with the Titans. Like I said, he's going to be interviewing a lot of places. That's just the way it goes. Now, last topic, last 10 minutes of the show. After this, make sure you hop on over to Crunch Time. Smash. If you're a member, if you got gifted a membership from the great Lions Forever, smash Doc, Hefe, Booner, all of them. I love seeing it. Smash the like button for the 450 people in here across 2 platforms. Retweet. All super chats, super likes, super stickers go right to the front of the line. Become a member. There are a handful of fired coaches. And now some of you, I just don't understand your mindset. I get it. Jim Schwartz, when he was fired from the Lions, many people remember him throwing the flag when you couldn't throw the flag on Thanksgiving. But they're like, why would you on X post Kevin Stefanski, Dan Campbell, Raheem Morris is a Super Bowl winning coaching staff? Kevin Stefanski is an offensive mind. Now, you guys got to remember, I think there's got to be a gateway from coordinator to coach. I think the true gateway should be, nowadays, you should be a college coach first or a coordinator, then become a college coach, and then go to the NFL. You got to coach. A lot of these guys don't know how to handle delegation. They don't know how to handle. Nowadays, the college game is like pros. I think that the proper course should be position coach, coordinator, college coach for 2-3 years. See if you can get to the playoff. There's a playoff. See if you can handle kids going to you. Hey, Kevin Stefanski, I'm a running back and I'm worth $3 million. How much are you going to pay me? Because I'm getting $3 million from Alabama. We'll give you 2.5. Okay, I'll call you later. Never get called back. Then Alabama pulls your offer. Hey, Coach Stefanski, it's me again. Do you still have that $2 million? How do you handle that? Handle that. And then you push forward and become an NFL coach. A lot of these coaches are 3 years and flame out. Look at Pete Carroll. He got his retirement plan from Vegas, 1 year and done. You know, there's no experience. You have to have some level of experience. And so a lot of you are like, Kevin Stefanski, he sucks because he did Shedeur wrong. He doesn't know what he's doing. Listen, I think he's a perfect coordinator. Guys like Raheem Morris, Todd Bowles. Now Todd Bowles won divisions. So he learned from his first opportunity with the Jets, and now he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had a down year. But a guy like Raheem Morris, I want this staff. I like Kevin Stefanski is the OC. He's got good. Remember, 2-time coach of the year. He won games with the Browns. He lasted for as long as he did. You don't think he'd be good here in Detroit? A lot of people are like, Doc, that's stupid. Why would you say that? They're intently looking at the Browns and saying, hey, they can't win with Myles Garrett. They butchered Shedeur Sanders, and he didn't know how to handle fourth downs. I think him as a coordinator would be special in my mind. And Raheem Morris has won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Raheem Morris is the guy. Sorry, no disrespect to Calvin Shepard, but the defense did not adapt to the level that it needed to. Now you play zone against the Bears. Riley knows what's up. You guys tell me, any coaches that got fired in the last 10 minutes that you like? Gannon. Do you like Coach Stefanski? Do you say, well, you hope that the whole staff of the Browns gets blown out? I would be intrigued with a Jim Schwartz reunion, but I feel like he deserves an opportunity to become a head coach. But I feel like he's right in the middle. Like the Lions offense tore him apart. They had no answers. James Solak on X says, once Ben Johnson left, he knew that the Lions were making the playoffs. Any coaches that got fired you like? Any coaches you hope get fired down the road? You got to like it, right? You see Raheem Morris, and he gets, an applause from Arthur Blank. They won 4 games in a row, and he got whacked. Biggins, problem is Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year. He's likely to be a head coach soon. That's a problem, yes. He is going to probably be the coach of the Giants. Is how I see things shaking out in my mind. AG's Burner says, Doc, Stefanski's a dodo bird. So, it's an uphill battle. I would think it would be okay. Shedeur is a rookie, says Corey Patterson. I've seen worse quarterbacks, and it's the Browns dudes running for his life. Yeah, you're right. AG's dude pretty much suppressed the best quarterback on his roster. You guys are right. But guess what? He don't get to make that decision. You get Goff. Make it happen. Shout out to Belinda. Shout out to Belinda Brown 3157. Capital B up in here. Good to see you. Hope to see more of you. Right, Donald? Who the hell wouldn't want Stefanski? That's clown talk. Donald Hart is okay with the Doc's plan. The Doc's VIP plan. All coaches. Dan interviews you. Did you ever coach in the NFL? Like, you don't remember? You whooped me. Oh, yeah, Kevin. Good seeing you again. Did you coach in the NFL? I was the coach here. Jim Schwartz. Oh, yeah. You're the guy that threw the flag, right? Oh, yeah. I would lend towards favorites in the clubhouse, Brian Daboll and Calvin Shepard being the coordinators next year. Monday show, Hassanin Mahdi 540. Hi, my dear friend, Mr. John Macaroon. Season's over. What is next? Hope your mom's back from the Bahamas and had a good time. 1986 cruise you went. Beautiful place, 5 Islands. Yeah, she came back late last night. Beautiful time. She had a good time. Thank you. Beautiful photos. I should have went. but it was the last week of the season. I should have went, but I can't plan a cruise during the season. What's next? Now, what's next? You saw Ahmed got another contract. That's good. What's next is, Hassani, now we look to the draft. What happens is now we talk to the general manager on Thursday. We're going to ask him what happened, why the team only won 9 games this year. So if that's Thursday, that will take over this week. Saturday, we will look at the playoffs, the college playoffs, and some of the players in the draft, like where Ahmed came from. Who can help? Who can be Ahmed's teammate next year? We got to look. That's going to be important. The next picks, the next class. And we're going to start looking at Ahmed and Makai Wingo. Who's going to help next year? We're going to recap what happened this year. Why did this year go bad with the injuries and what happened? And then we're going to get the draft. How did the team get better? What free agents do the Lions got to sign for the offensive line? Who needs to be back? Why Ahmed's better than El-Quadin Muhammad? By a lot. And so stay tuned. Good coverage. We will write and podcast. And we're just going to talk about how the Lions get better and better and better so that one day Ahmed gets a big fat ring. We want Ahmed to have a Super Bowl ring in Detroit. Big fat one. Big fat ring. How are you? How's your back? If you go on X, one of the players, the tight end, Sam LaPorta, he had a herniated disc. Smulla, man. He had to have surgery. I hope your back is better. So we'll be here. I look forward to podcasting and hearing from you all off season. Inshallah. Motor City Mia, Doc, people think we have time to develop coordinators and we don't. Right. That was a big mistake. That's the biggest mistake that Dan Campbell, when he retires and he writes his book, he'll say in 2005, in 2025, I should have never went with 2 young corners. I should have never went with 2 young coordinators. They needed to be more experienced. John Morton and Anthony Lynn were 2 coordinator choices that fell off. Doc, I'm with you on the new defensive coordinator, but I really don't think they're getting rid of Shep. I don't either. But, I mean, you just can't say there's coordinators better. Raheem Morris has a better resume. I'm sorry, it happens. It happens. You need to have experience. Winning a Super Bowl as a coordinator is great. Having a head coach experience is great. Phil C. Hey, DDC, Doc. I know what you're saying. Which coaches do you like that were fired? Do you think it's Dayball and Shepard? Do you think it's, Gannon getting an opportunity? Nick P., you trying to avoid taking listeners from crunch time? Yeah. I don't want to do that. I hate that. Those guys are busting their butt. And plus 2 Monday Night Raw starts. And who knows, in 2 minutes, Chris Jericho might be debuting. I can't wait. Let me give a shout out to those that have stayed. Zach Taylor staying with the Bengals, not getting fired. Listen, be nice to them. You guys are funny. Shout out to Phil C, Silent Service, Hassanin Mahdi, Dolo Dynamite, Corey Patterson, AG's Burner, Angus in the building. Knows what's up. Dan Campbell needs to get a proven offensive coordinator. Proven. Experience. You said it. Give me Stefanski and Raheem Morris, and I'll be dancing. We're winning the Super Bowl. Phil C, Riley O'Brien, Steve Wilds. I got a lot of love for you guys. The Motor City Mia. Detroit. Hitter. What about Miami's coach? Absolutely. He's a genius. He's got genius status. I think that would be a nice fit. But I think that he's participating in the GM search. I think he did enough to earn his spot to stay. If Mike McDaniel is available, I think he's going to put in a name that's going to keep him. All right, that's my time, 65 minutes. What we talked about today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I do like to go longer, but you guys know I went 2 hours yesterday. I had a full work day. I feel like a quick show will allow you to also watch your other favorite streams. I like the 7 o'clock hour, but I'll bring in a 3-4 hour broadcast probably after Brad Holmes on Thursday. It'll be later. Might do 4 hours on just what Brad said, every aspect of it. We'll see. But today's topics were the locker room cleanout. You can kind of get a sense of what that was like. Dan Campbell gives himself an F. What grade would you give him? Sam LaPorta, don't worry, don't panic. You'll at least get a chance to evaluate him at training camp. And what coaches that were fired would you want here in Detroit? Thanks for entertaining and listening to me over this last hour. Hop on over to the next best stream, Crunch Time. Tell them the doc sent you. Tell them Doc said, what up? This podcast is made possible thanks to On SI. I represent the Detroit Sports Podcast, founded in 2013, and we talk about the Detroit Lions exclusively at Lions on SI and on X at Detroit Podcast. You can go there and find the daily links to click to read the stories. You can see the videos from the locker room. You get my insights, and you can reach me there or in any of the comments. Thank you to the 500 people who listened over this hour. And I do want to give a special shout out to Pat Caputo. I hope you're doing well. And it's unfortunate that the diagnosis you shared, hopefully you fight, battle. And I listened every Saturday for years to that man on 97.1. And the whole Detroit sports radio community is in your corner. And the talks that we had at the Tigers press box a couple times definitely left a lasting legacy in my heart. And the broadcast you did taught me that there are very smart people out there that can have recall like no other. Shout out to Pat Caputo and many blessings from the community. If anything, you guys, if you guys know what I'm talking about, give your prayers, and we're all rooting for a sports radio icon in Detroit. I'll come back probably tomorrow if there's some topics that hit from what Dan said and the things I'm recapping. There's more. I talked to so many players. Good night, everybody. Lots of laughs. And remember, this podcast forces people away from snuggling and interacting with their misses. They pull out and pull in to the Lone Wolves podcast. Peace and love, everybody.